Hello and welcome to Car Dealer Live. My name is James Batchelor. Now today we are talking about how some dealers are selling their quality stock too cheaply and by holding on to their stock for too long. And potentially they're losing millions of pounds in doing this. Joining me to discuss more about this and how dealers can potentially avoid doing this is Dean Merritt, Head of Sales at Indicata. Hello, Dean.
Hello, how are you?
Very good, Dean. Thank you so much for joining us on this. Now, uh, I read the press release that you guys put out about this, and it is actually really quite an interesting thing. This, so I'm really pleased that we're able to talk about this and get a little bit more insight from you. Now, dealers watching this will know that Indicata has tons of crucial data at your fingertips. Now, you've come across a pretty incredible stat, really, about the millions of pounds that dealers potentially are losing. So, can you just explain to us just a little bit more about what you found?
Of course, of course. So, yes, you're absolutely right. At Indicata, we have historical and up-to-date data held in our European data warehouse. And the statistic I was specifically looking at is that dealers, when we're analysing the desirability of their stock, the desirability metric that we use is called market day supply, and I can explain how we arrive at those figures in a second. But potentially, dealers were turning them good cars far too quickly, spinning them too quickly. Potentially stock turns in the 20s or even 30s. And their least desirable cars, they were maybe turning with a stock turn of one or two. And it was universal that you had big dealer groups doing this, but you also have small one-man bands doing this as well. So it's not completely restricted to big or even medium-sized dealer groups. Even OEMs are doing very, very similar things. As I say, we measure something called market day supply, which is all around desirability. And at Indicata, what we do to measure that desirability score is we look at the amount of total cars of a specific make, model, transmission type, gearbox, etc. In the marketplace, trim. And we look at historically how many of those identical vehicles have sold over the last 45 days. We choose 45 days very specifically. We think 60 days is just too long in the market, and 30 days probably doesn't give us quite enough data metrics. So what we do is, let's just assume there's 8 in the marketplace and 8 have sold over the last 45 days. We would deem that car to have a market day supply figure of 45, because at the current travel rate, at the current run rate of sales, it would take 45 days for that particular car to sell out, assuming no more came to the market. We're not saying it necessarily takes 45 days to sell, because one car could sell on day 1, 3 on day 5, but by the 45th day, all of them sell. If it was not as good, maybe 4 sold in the last 45 days, clearly it would take double the amount of time, 90 days market day supply. And if it was a particularly poor performing vehicle and only 2 sold within the last 45 days, it would take 180 days for all of that stock to clear out. So all we say, James, is that the lower the number, the lower the market day supply number, the more desirable the vehicle. And to help our dealers that use Indicata in the UK currently, we say that a car with a market day supply, anything under 45 is a green car. It's a good car. Prices typically can be exceeded. Amber cars, probably 45 to 90 currently. Clearly, a lot of dealers are going to have a lot of that stock. It's unavoidable. Actually, prices normally can still be over exceeded in the market, but we mustn't flood the market. But it's also not just about identifying those really good cars, James. It's about knowing the red traffic light vehicles, market day supply of over 90. And it's about identifying those vehicles and then making a conscious business-led decision to either price them aggressively to make sure that we sell that vehicle quickly before any losses are potentially accrued, or indeed, a lot of our research suggests for red cars that the dealer potentially would be better just trading out of those vehicles straight away and not even trying to
Yeah.
retail them.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's quite a potentially a difficult question to answer, but why do you think dealers, with their good cars, they are pricing them too cheaply and selling them too quickly, and with their poorer quality stock, holding them on, holding on to them for too long without lowering the price? Why do you think all of this is happening? Do you think?
I think I think it's a difficult one potentially to put my finger on. However, I feel that a lot of dealers historically have priced the vehicles purely down to days in stock
Mm.
and only looked at days in stock. And whilst I think that days in stock is still a very, very important performance metric, I also feel that a dealer now, even more so after COVID, needs to look at the desirability of a car when pricing. So I think days in stock combined with market day supply, there's your perfect storm. Take into account the market day supply, take into account days in stock, and price them. And of course, the ideal vehicle to have is something that's fresh in stock, 1 to 14 days, 1 to 30 days in stock, with a great market day supply. Because at that stage, that's when you can really, hopefully, make the most of the potential profits against that car, with people having alerts on their phone to say, I'm looking for a specific type of vehicle. Price that potentially quite high in the market to start off with. Good car, fresh in stock, really make the most of that profit opportunity. But if it's a poor car, fresh in stock, don't adopt the same approach. You need to be proactive, be aware that that car may cause you an issue, and actually price that car accordingly.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, I mean, what you're saying there is that, potentially a large proportion of that 500 million that you quoted, is for cars which, they are in demand, they are desirable, but dealers aren't really taking advantage of that. Yes, they're selling them quickly, but they could actually be charging a bit of a premium and making more money.
Correct. So absolutely right, James. So the majority of that figure, the majority of that, for nearly 500 million pounds worth of potential additional revenue that dealers could be getting on an annual basis. The analysis that we've done here at Indicata is looking at the 43,000, 45,000, 50,000 cars that were sold last month, but specifically having two or three key parameters. The first parameter is cars with a market day supply of 45 or under. But those cars that have a market day supply of 45 or under, that a dealer has sold or had advertised for less than 30 days and have sold, or the last sticker price, for less than 100% of the market. And that's the potential size of the prize. Now, of course, backing up what I've just said, if you're potentially a franchise main dealer, and you've got a good car, market day supply of under 45, and you're retailing it in under 30 days, I think there's a very strong argument to say that you should be dictating 102, 103, potentially 104, maybe even 105% of the market if you really want to test it. And of course, if we go to 102%, the analysis shows us that there's an additional 200, potentially 200 million pounds worth of additional revenue that could be secured by the dealer or the dealers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, is there also an argument to be said that dealers should be more picky about the cars that they are acquiring for stock, and using data tools such as yourselves and other data providers, really identifying? Of course, I know the picture changes all the time. Some cars are in demand, and then at other times of the year they're not. But having a more of their finger on the pulse in terms of making sure they acquire the best quality stock that they can. By all means, sell it quickly, but charging that crucial premium. So they should be a little bit more picky about the cars they're getting in stock.
Agreed, agreed. So absolutely, that the first and foremost, dealers need to be looking after the hundreds of thousands, millions of pounds worth of inventory they have in their stock at the moment. Absolutely. But by using tools, as you say, such as Indicata, what we're able to do is cars that maybe they're looking to purchase at auction or other mediums, or indeed part exchange vehicles, is not only look at the price that A, they can retail the car at, B, therefore work out what the maximum purchase price for that vehicle would be. We use that working retail back, but actually the desirability of that car currently today in the market. And you're absolutely right. Yes, of course, the desirability can change day by day. But at the day of purchase, look at how desirable that car is. And do you know what? If there is a reasonable margin to be made over the car, and the car's not quite as desirable, you may actually choose still to purchase that vehicle, retail it at a slightly lower price, and still make a good profit. However,
Yeah.
if you're looking at potentially buying stock, yes, absolutely look at the potential revenue that you've got or profit opportunities that you've got in that car, but definitely look at the market day supply, the desirability of that vehicle before you purchase it, because it may well be that you prefer to purchase two vehicles with a very good market day supply, a little bit less profit in them, than one vehicle with a poor market day supply, maybe with more profit, that potentially you may spend some of that money through additional marketing because you're going to hold on to that car for an elongated period of time.
Mm. I know you said at the beginning of this that this is dealers across the board, whether it's small independents and large franchises. But one thing that's just sort of popped into my head in us just talking now is some of those franchise dealers. Some of those are doing agency sales, or they're franchise dealers which could potentially be taking agency sales on in the future. Um, of course, as we know, with those kinds of sales models, the used car is something which the dealer has more control of as opposed to the manufacturer. And I would imagine that what you're saying might very well be ringing a lot of bells for those kinds of dealers who need to make sure that they are marketing and pricing and selling those used cars correctly and obviously very profitably at the same time.
Yes, indeed. I think, if we go back a year, 2 years ago, it was, dare I say, relatively easy to sell a car, because if you got an inquiry on a vehicle and that inquiry didn't necessarily turn into a sale, you probably didn't panic, because actually normally the next inquiry probably would actually secure that sale. Whereas now we're back, dare I say, into the realms of normal world. Probably what the market looked like 4 or 5, 6 years ago, pre-COVID. And actually, we're now going to have to make the most of those opportunities, and dealers are going to have to make the most of those opportunities to turn that potential inquiry into a sale. And, now it's all around embracing data. And what I would still say is that, yes, gut feel, instinct, experience in the marketplace still counts for loads. However, what we're promoting at Indicata is actually use the data science to back up that gut feel and instinct. Look at you may think it's a popular car, but actually, when you look at it on a more granular detail, maybe, nationally it's a popular car, but actually locally it's not as popular, or indeed it's not popular national, but in your specific area, 20, 40, 60 mile radius potentially, it could be really popular. And actually, so what Indicata does is it backs up the sales manager's gut feel, experience, and knowledge. And I think that's really important.
Mm. Um, Obviously, looking at data and like you say, having that gut feeling, but also backed up by data has been important for quite some time now. But I would imagine that over the past few years, where we've had more electric cars coming into the used car market, that need to be really hot on pricing data and desirability and stock turn, days to sell, etc., is just become even more important with electric cars. Would you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we see that certainly in recent months, the desirability for electric vehicles has picked up. The market day supply has started to come down on electric vehicles, which therefore means they have become more desirable in the marketplace. And I think that there's a whole multitude of reasons why that could be. Some of it is around affordability, in my opinion. We're it's certainly in some models we're starting to see the approach to price parity between electric vehicles and standard ice vehicles. So yes, I do think that the data science is extremely important around not only ice vehicles but absolutely around the BEV market.
Mm. Um, Finally, Dean, dealers who are watching this, they might be thinking, "Oh gosh, I think I might actually be guilty of selling, good quality cars, not at a premium, or not lowering prices on the cars which are not quite as good quality." If that is ringing a few bells with dealers watching this, I mean, what should they be doing?
Well, again, I think it's don't be afraid to use the data. Uh, Indicata, yes, is absolutely a system out there that I use and I promote, but it's not a tool that makes all those decisions for you. All we do is we complement, as I've said previous, your knowledge and expertise. So working very much alongside you against your inventory, casting a second pair of eyes, an unbiased pair of eyes over the inventory, because clearly what we do know is that dealers in this day and age are extremely busy. They're extremely time poor, and actually some things, through no fault of their own, can be occasionally missed.
Mm,
Missing photographs and things like that. It could be that substandard pictures. It could be that you've got a picture of a car with you know a scuff on an alloy and things like that. So by using Indicata, by using our support, our customer success manager team, we're actually able to cast a second pair of eyes over the stock and actually give feedback to the dealer, completely unbiased feedback to the dealer. It's the dealer's stock. Our system's purely just based on facts and averages that are out there available on the internet through all the 14 million cars that we look at on a daily basis through all our European countries. A completely unbiased view. So, as I say,
mm.
don't be afraid to use the data. Certainly, don't be afraid to price your vehicles as far as days in stock, but actually challenge around desirability as well.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, some really interesting food for thought there, Dean. Thank you so much for joining us today.
James, thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Well, that's it for today's Car Dealer Live. Join us again very soon. Bye bye.